The 10-minute drill.
This is a big one.
Is brought to you by Lloyd's Construction and Consulting, providing first-class construction services on 1010XL.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Hit it. All right, you want to do some sports concepts and rationalizations? We call it the 10-minute drill. After we drill you, Beef, we like to hand out a prize pack. What are we handing out today?
Oh, you know we do, Dan. Today we're going to hook one Guggen up at the end of the 10-minute drill with a $25 gift card from Famous Automotive Quick Lube. You can use that towards services like oil changes. Plus, you'll be entered in the drawing for a chance to win a pairing into the prestigious Coastal Equipment Guggen Open coming up Monday, April 12th at Hidden Hills.
Are the pro days more important without a combine or just equally important?
I almost feel like, and this is, it's funny you brought that up. I was going to mention this. I have never heard more 4.29s and 4.32 40s in my
pro
life.
Day instead of the
so I almost taken it all with a grain of salt at these pro days. Obviously, the school wants them to succeed. So I have a little bit more cynicism towards these pro days, I think, than maybe I normally would. Does that make sense?
To that
Does it seem like you guys haven't you heard? He just ran a 4.28.
Well, I haven't heard
he
of that
ran a
low,
4.31. He ran a 4.36. I mean, 4.4 is blazing.
Yeah,
boys.
no, I haven't tracked those.
Yeah.
I saw that with Rondell Moore yesterday, but
it just seems like I'm hearing more and more of those than I've ever heard.
Alabama's pro day is like an all-you-can-eat buffet, man. You go through there, you're going to find you can almost pick anybody who's there and say, okay, I'll take him. I mean,
yes.
Now, yesterday, it was kind of a little different because so many guys are choosing not to work out. We've talked a lot about Devontae Smith, his weight, his reluctance to showcase himself in a pro day type situation. But one guy who did perform yesterday and he wasn't happy with the way he performed was Mac Jones.
He wasn't happy?
No.
Oh.
Quote, I came out here, I slung it around. Obviously, I wish I had a bunch of throws back, but it is what it is. I'll watch the tape, of course. I'm going to be a little frustrated.
He looked good
by
to
the
me.
ones I missed.
It's not the throws, but his body looked good. He looks like he's really gotten himself
vigor. Yeah. Now, they say that his private quarterback coach is Joe Dickinson. I thought that was Denny to a certain degree. But Dickinson was at the was at the workout.
Denny's worked with him, but he doesn't
his
work.
guy. Yeah. Well, Dickinson, who has apparently worked with Jones since he was 11.
That's Bruce's cousin.
Perhaps.
Yes.
Maybe they.
No, perhaps. I know that.
Right, well, maybe they put out a ditty after the pro day yesterday.
Yes.
But Dickinson was there, and he said, I thought he did good. I've seen him throw better, but he doesn't want to miss one. He's a competitive guy. The question was, what kind of arm strength does he have? We answered some of those questions. The rest of it's been answered on film. And so now we wait on Mac Jones to become, I guess, the highest drafted quarterback from Jacksonville history. I guess it would be Tebow, right?
Yeah, he's the most volatile.
Well, it makes sense as a
mover in the draft.
Yeah,
like I've seen him as high as in the top 10.
Yeah, I just saw a mock where he went 10th.
And I've seen him as low as
34, 35.
Yeah.
I have too.
Yeah. So to me, he's the guy who I've seen all over the first round.
I would
board.
think that he can't. He's not going to make it past like Pittsburgh and New Orleans, would he?
You wouldn't think,
right? I mean, but I guess you got to really believe in him because those teams do have quarterbacks and they have other needs.
Belly has a great relationship with Saban,
and that's 15. And they pick 15.
So to me, if he gets by New England, then.
I guess the question you have to ask yourself if you're the Patriots and you have a lot of needs and they just spend a lot in free agents, the 15th pick is a good pick. There's going to be a lot of athletes, and you have to ask yourself, is there not a Mac Jones coming out every year that I could get?
Yeah, I don't know.
Right, a 6'2", his average size and weight.
Or is Mac Jones special?
Is he? I'm not saying that he is or not.
Yes, there's a Mac Jones body every year, but is there a Mac Jones winner every year? Is there a Mac Jones person who, again, and most of you know his story by now.
Just going by, he's not 6'6". That's the guy. No, I know, but the Burrow, the Trevor, those guys.
He went to a place where everyone told him he would never play and won a natty for him. Yeah, and not just by taking over. He went wire to wire and won a natty for him. He got some seasoning the year before when he had to step in due to injury, and then he held off, the next great one, the 5-star kid, took the job and never looked back.
Yeah.
And did he benefit from certain things? Yes, as all Alabama quarterbacks have from having.
But here's the other side of that. And how have all Alabama quarterbacks done in their move up to the pros? The answer Nothing. They've
Has
done
anybody?
nothing. Not one of them.
Yeah.
And they've had a lot of them. They've all won
Of
national
late.
titles
Well,
in the last,
yes.
12 years. There's
Yeah.
been 5 of them. And A.J. McCarron, just a guy.
yeah, but he didn't have the numbers that Mac Jones
Yeah,
had.
A.J.
Not
McCarron.
even close.
No, not the numbers, but they have completely changed what they do since then, too.
Yeah.
The Alabama offense allows that. They would never have that kind of passing game with A.J.
Right.
McCarron was there.
No, they didn't step
But
up.
I think A.J. McCarron, from a physical standpoint, was every bit Mac Jones.
Physical, yeah. I'm
Yeah.
not debating that.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the whole won't be denied, will to win, I'll do anything it takes.
I hear you.
A.J. McCarron, those guys were in line to get the job. This guy should have never had the job.
Well, the one thing that and you've brought this up before, and anybody who's followed the league does, and it's just an unknown. You won't find out until he's there. Is that Mac Jones also has the benefit that, and again, you could probably say the same thing about Trevor Lawrence and other quarterbacks
Sure.
on great teams. It was like practice.
Yeah.
It was like they were in shells and he had a yellow jersey on. He went back to pass. He stood up in the pocket and he threw it to 2 of the fastest, best receivers in all of college football. Now, that's the same advantage that a lot of great quarterbacks have had through the years. So,
Well, I think he's a first-round pick. Speaking of Alabama workouts, they had 14 guys there. I love the story of Najee Harris.
he didn't work out.
His flight got canceled from Dallas, and he wanted to be there, so he drove to Birmingham.
Okay. Just to
9 hours.
support his guys.
Yeah. I like that guy. I don't think he quite fits in the Jags draft ilk, but I like that guy.
Alex Leatherwood he was very athletic.
Yeah, I
He
wonder.
had a vertical 34.5, a broad jump of 10 feet. He was 312 pounds. He looked light on his feet. He was great on the position drills. So, maybe at 45, Leatherwood would be a guy that you would consider, maybe even 33, depending on what you do.
Well, we know Waddle's a first-round pick. We know Smith is a first-round pick. We know Surtain is a first-round pick. We think Mack is a first-round pick. Barmore, we think, is a first-round pick. Who am I missing? There's a couple other ones that could be. Leatherwood could be a first-round pick. Could be. I thought in my head there was 14 there. I thought in my head I had 7 who could go in the first round. Mac, I guess.
You said him.
I did? Mm-hmm. Okay. So it will be. Well, and that's not mentioning like Dylan Moses, Landon Dickerson, guys who are going to play in the league,
No, there's Deontay Brown's a guard, a big, huge kid. He's more of a 3rd, 4th rounder, but he's damn sure going to be in the league.
Who?
Guy named Deontay Brown?
Yeah.
Guard?
Yeah.
That's what I mean. He's dropped 20 pounds.
Oh, Najee Harris. I didn't mention him.
Yeah, Najee Harris.
He could be a first round.
Probably. It looks like he's kind of fallen out of that.
I think there's 7 who could be, and I think there's 5 who ultimately will be. That'd be my guess, but nonetheless, that's it's incredible.
Yeah, it helps you win national titles, that's for sure. Where would you rank of the 16 teams left FSU and their likelihood of winning the title? And before you answer, I think the reason that you have to lower them comparatively, that's probably the tough. That Michigan, Alabama, FSU threesome there has the toughest road, whichever one it is, because they have to beat each other and then they have to beat Gonzaga.
I was talking to my suddenly FSU hoop fan son, the older boy, yesterday, Drew, and he told me that he's confident they're going to beat Michigan. And one of the things we got talking about, I said, well, Michigan is one of the better teams that I've watched play. And I said this to you yesterday, and you watched Michigan LSU, right?
Yeah.
I watched a string in the first half of like 10 straight Michigan possessions where they worked the ball and got like open looks, and like half of them were layups. And he goes, yeah, but he goes, LSU's kind of like FSU. They got dudes. And he's right. Like LSU has dudes, man. Like that Watford guy. LSU should be in the based on their players, LSU should be in the Sweet 16. Watford, is it Smart?
Cam Thomas is the guy, the freshman. With all due respect to your burgeoning FSU fan, LSU has better players than FSU.
That's not the discussion.
Okay.
The discussion is dudes versus team. And to me, FSU has dudes, LSU has dudes. And when I say dudes, I'm talking about like long athletic, to quote Jay Billis, those a lot of 6'8" talented guys. I thought Michigan plays more as a team, though. I like what Juwan Howard's done with that group. So I think it's two different styles that they would have played. And I look forward to the FSU-Michigan matchup. Now, to answer your question, where do I have them ranked?
Middle.
No, I have them a little higher than you do, I think.
I
think there's no way they can win.
I would never say no way, but if I were putting confidence meters on the 8 games that are left, that would be. I think Michigan will put FSU in a grinder. They'll turn them over. They'll pull away late, and they'll beat them by 12, 15 points because I watched FSU go play. I haven't forgotten their trip to Notre Dame. I haven't forgotten them playing Georgia Tech in the ACC championship game and getting grinded down by a team half as good as them. Yeah. I don't trust them a bit.
That's fair.
And that, with all due respect to these 2 wins, they have not really been challenged. You got Colorado and UNC Wilmington.
Yeah.
This is Michigan. They've been top 3 all year.
Yeah.
And granted, you can question the ranking of the Big Ten, but I think Michigan will beat them comfortably. I don't think FSU wins this game. Now, Alabama's a different story. I'm more nervous and this isn't speaking from my Michigan in the bracket perspective, but being a guy that has Michigan, Alabama worries me more than FSU. I think Bama's better than Florida State.
Alabama's really good. And people will say, well, they could have a bad shooting day. Ultimately, that will spell them. Yeah, but they got 5 guys who shoot better than 40% from behind the arc.
Yeah.
So they don't really have bad shooting.
No, they're like Alabama's dangerous. They're I think they're much better than Arkansas.
I watched that one dude in game 1. I was getting so mad at him, and I'm like, take him out of the dadgum game. Petty was his name.
Right,
but he came back in the second game and had a huge game. But I'm like, get this guy out.
Yeah.
Well,
we're going to talk more college basketball with Matt Driscoll, and I thought we'd kind of take this approach with him. Like if you're a head coach at UNF or JU or Stetson or Florida Gulf Coast or Liberty in their conference, how do you dare to dream to be Gonzaga? I mean, here's Gonzaga Hicks sitting in the middle of nowhere in Washington.
Yeah.
A small private school.
Yeah.
Who before Casey Cavalry in the Sweet 16 victory over Florida, I knew Gonzaga for one thing and one thing only. I never remember seeing them in a tournament as a kid. They had John Stockton. It's the only thing I ever heard. The only time I ever heard the phrase Gonzaga in my lifetime was when they were referencing John Stockton's college career. Now, that doesn't mean that they weren't a tournament team more than I remember, but it just seems like I'm amazed by Gonzaga and where they are and how they did. How did this happen?
Yeah.
And maybe Maddie can give us a little insight to that. Also very familiar, obviously, with Baylor.
Yeah.
Right? Matt Driscoll, very familiar with the Baylor program. So we'll talk to the UNF head coach about some March Madness and more as we roll it into the 8 o'clock hour. It's a CPR Contracting Wednesday brought to you by CPR Contracting. Boy, they're the best in the business when it comes to repairing, restoring, and saving industrial-sized concrete projects. So it's who you need on your side when that concrete facility has gone wrong. You can find out more at cprcontracting.com or check them out on their social media pages.
Give me a number, Danny.
Let's do caller number 4 at 641-1010. Beef, tell them what they're going to win.
Caller number right now it's 641-1010. Going to go home with a $25 gift card from Famous Automotive Quick Lube. They can use that towards services like oil changes. And you'll be entered into the drawing for a chance to win a pairing into the prestigious Coastal Equipment Guggen Open coming up Monday, April 12th at the Hidden Hills Golf Club. So call now.